In April 2023, UCU members in higher education made history. Through years of industrial action and sheer determination, we forced an agreement with employers to restore their stolen pensions by April 2024. How did we get here?
Workers from dozens of universities across the UK are starting 3 days of industrial strike action.
In 2018, university employers tried to close the defined benefit part of the USS pension scheme.
And that's the part that you have a guaranteed income for life. And what the employers were going to do in one fell swoop is close the whole scheme, instead have the defined contribution scheme where all of the risk is on every individual member depending on the day that they retire.
But UCU members fought back.
The 2018 action was cold, it was painful, it was the unknown, but we were all out together. There was a huge amount of solidarity.
The strikes started, we'd called 14 days over 4 weeks.
Basically, there was this single call on prevention of the closure of DB, which was very clear, and as a result, it sort of galvanized everybody to involve.
Staff at more than 60 universities stood on picket lines. We didn't win an absolute victory, but it was a crucial moment. Employers agreed to keep the USS defined benefit open while an independent panel of experts examined the pension scheme.
The idea of the joint expert panel was the union and the employers would nominate each 3 people to constitute a technical panel to look at the valuation.
And they came down on our side. They backed the union's position that this scheme was fundamentally healthy. And the outcome of those strikes were hugely important in this story. I mean, that was the turning point. That was the moment at which the scheme was supposed to have been closed by employers, but we fought that off and kept it alive.
But our victory in 2018 didn't stop employers from continuing their attacks on staff pensions. Employers reverted to a strategy of death by 1,000 cuts.
We saw nods at what the Joint Expert Panel had recommended, but not properly implemented and leading to contribution increases for members and employers.
This led to another wave of strikes in 2019 and 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic made the situation even worse.
I know Sam Marsh, who was on the negotiating team, has a graph where he talks about the valuation being right at the very bottom of the most massive dip because we had the pandemic.
So the UCU was criticising the valuation for being excessively prudent.
The pension cuts of 2022 were huge. I mean, this was potentially up to 35% from the guaranteed future income that people would accrue in the scheme. Worse, it would affect early career people the most.
UCU again fought back, achieving higher and higher levels of participation in industrial action and gaining thousands of new members.
In Belfast, support from passing drivers. Lecturers at some universities in both Northern Ireland and in Scotland are also on strike.
In summer 2022, UCU launched a new campaign to win back our pensions and to address attacks on our pay and conditions. But UCU Rising was the most exciting campaign that we've run in this union. It was the biggest thing that we've undertaken. So we wanted to really involve all of the membership within HE, but also bring in lots of other parts of the union and bring on board the general public. So it was really the biggest campaign that we have undertaken in the union's history. UCU members smashed the ballot threshold and delivered the biggest yes vote in the union's history.
It was absolutely amazing that every single institution was able to take part because we got the aggregate ballot.
They cannot ignore over 150 universities taking industrial action at the same time. They had to take us seriously. Our negotiators walked back into the room with the employers with more leverage than we have ever had before.
And your action on the picket persuaded them finally to have in writing that they will prioritise benefit restoration to the pre-April 2022 level, and they have committed to that and they are following through on that. All of the indications are that restoring the benefits will be possible for way less than the current contributions.
We've not just reversed the cuts, but actually we're now at a place where they're going to have to look at the actual model in terms of valuation going forward. This is not job done. We need to keep up the pressure to ensure that employers don't step back 1 inch. But we have taken a giant step towards victory.
Now, we might not have won every battle, but really we have to look back over where we started and where we've got to now. It looks like we're going to win the war.
We achieved this together, UCU and proud.